Thanks for joining us today. I'm Gabe Garrish, owner of Backwoods Pursuit. I'm down at the range today. I wanted to show you a product here that helps you determine your effective range when you only have a 100-yard distance to work with. A lot of ranges out there only go out to 100 yards, and that's where these come in. These are the Determinator targets. I'm going to show you how these work and what you need to do to use them, and it'll help you determine your effective range on different species of animals, which is really awesome. So I always real appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Smash that subscribe button for us, really appreciate that. And check out our website, backwoodspursuit.com, tons of gear reviews over there. And I'll put a link to these Determinator targets in the description for you so you can check it out for yourself. Let's get started. So what are the Determinator targets? They are a number of targets here in various sizes depending on the species of animal that you are wanting to know what your effective range is. I've got this one here for an antelope. We've got one here for a coyote, if that's what you're going to be hunting, one here for a bull elk, and then also one for a mule deer. So each of the circles here is calibrated to a different yardage, and again, these are meant to be used at 100 yards. And so each of these circles represents an effective range at whatever yardage. You can put 5 shots inside that circle. If you're not inside, say this largest circle here, this one is 100 yards effective range on an antelope. If all of your 5 of your shots are just barely inside of that, you know that your effective range is 100 yards on an antelope. Now conversely, this inner circle here, if you have 5 shots inside of that, you know your effective yardage or effective range with that equipment and that gun and that ammo is going to be at 600 yards on an antelope. So the critical thing here is to know your equipment, know your gun. What I'm going to be doing here is jump on the gun with these, and then the ammo I've got here is just an off-the-shelf Nosler 120 grain ballistic tip. It shoots okay in this gun. It's not an amazing shooting round in my particular gun here, but it's a really good way to show you what an effective yardage and effective range is for yourself as a shooter, as well as for the equipment that you're using. Now, it doesn't replace long-range practice. You still need to go out and do some of that long-range practice to verify. If you're going to be shooting some of those longer distances, you need to verify that the ballistics of the ammunition that you're shooting are dropping accordingly, according to your ballistics chart, and you need to verify that. You need to know what your wind calls are for some of those longer distances, especially if there is any wind. But this is going to allow you to know what that effective range is based on your equipment and your ability at 100 yards, because there's a lot of ranges. Most ranges out there seem to just be limited to 100 or 200 yards. So they're really useful for that. So I'm going to jump on my rifle here. I'll go throw these down on the target, staple them up there, and I'll shoot each of these targets so you can see what this factory shooting ammo, this shoots okay. Like I said, it's nothing to write home about. Got some way better hand loads that shoot really good in this gun, but I wanted to do it with the off-the-shelf loads to kind of help you show what an okay shooting load off the shelf is going to look like on these targets. So let's jump into this. All right, let's run down and grab those targets and we'll go over the results. All right, first up on the coyote here, I shot it twice. All 5 of them are in here inside this 200-yard ring right here. So obviously not great shooting by the ammunition, and very well could be the shooter as well. This one here had one, obviously I pulled that shot, but the other 3 were pretty consistent there. They were all inside the 300-yard circle, so we could effectively say we want to practice a couple more times here to get our verification. 300 yards is a pretty safe bet on a coyote based on this one, except for that one that I pulled. And obviously need to practice more on that. Now moving over to the pronghorn here, you can see 4 of the 5 are inside the 400-yard ring, and then we got one just outside of that on inside the 300-yard ring. So our effective range on this pronghorn target would be 300 yard with this particular ammunition. Now over here on the mule deer, you can see we've got, again, all of them inside the 300-yard ring. Not a very good group, not anything I'd be close to happy with if I was reloading this. But again, this is that factory ammunition, and obviously could be some shooter error in there as well. But 300 yard effective range on that deer. And then moving down to the elk here on the bottom, we've got actually I shot 8 in here. All 8 of them are inside the 300-yard ring, but the first 5 were all inside the 500-yard ring there. So effective range of 500 yards with that round on an elk. Of course, assuming ballistics and the weapon and everything else is effective at animal that range, but on a target this size, effective range of 500 yards on an elk-sized target. Now another way you can use these is to practice with these in various positions that you might find yourself hunting out in the field. So if you're going to potentially shoot kneeling or standing or off a tripod, use these targets and practice that way. It'll give you your effective range at different positions, so you know about where you want to be and what your effective ranges are in the various positions on these different animals. So they're very good for that, not just for determining what your equipment and your ability is when you're shooting prone like I was. So drop any questions or comments. I'd love to help you out if I can. Again, these are the Determinator targets. Put a link to these down in the description. Thanks for watching here today, and we will see you next time.